Hi, I'm Ruthie, owner of Defy the Status Quo, and you're listening to an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast, your daily 10-minute shot of business knowledge. So let's get right to it. This morning, we are going to talk about the optimal morning routine. And that means a little something different to everybody. So I asked my network on LinkedIn and in a new platform I'm using called the Girl Boss Community, what was a critical part of their morning routine? What was the piece of their routine that they, really felt got their day off to the right start? And this is important because, according to Mel Robbins, a video she posted on Instagram, which I'll link in the show notes, it's not when you get up. So don't worry. I'm not telling you have to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, although that is what I do sometimes. She said it was how you woke up that was critical. And that's actually a distinction that's really important. And it's one that I've kind of always, held on to no matter when you were waking up. So it's not about getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and let's say you work a swing shift and you don't start work until 2. Well, then you don't need to get up at 4 o'clock, but it's how you wake up. You're in control of your morning and you have the opportunity to do the activities that set you up for success. So if you don't have 4 children, that's right, I've got 4. If you don't have 4 children running around in the morning and you can get up at 8 and still be in control of your morning, then get up at 8 if that's what you need to feel rested and be at your best for the day. So something I noticed was that there were some common themes in the flood of responses that I got. So thank you. If you also answered any of those questions and you're listening to this episode, I really appreciate it. Thank you. There were some common themes that came from everybody's responses. One of the first things I noticed was doing some sort of mental focusing activity. So for some people, that was meditation or prayer, kind of first thing in the morning, or reflection on things that made them grateful. One of the more actively mental things that came up a lot was journaling, which is something I, wished I did more of. And journaling, and it's for a lot of people, it's just like 5 to 10 minutes of getting their thoughts out of their brains and getting them onto the paper. And that can really do a lot for you, especially first thing in the morning. You're kind of still in touch with your dream side, your creative side, and you just kind of want to, just word vomit those things out onto the paper. So journaling is a top thing. And if I recall correctly, it's also one of the things that all the most successful people in the world, it's one of their, habits of the most successful people. Another thing that's really great for you to do is to plan out your day. And this is something I do. I put a lot of emphasis on. I pick my 3 top priorities for the day. I need to get these 3 things done. And if I do, then yay. Now I try not to beat up myself too much if I don't get them done, but you're supposed to identify the top 3 priorities that will move your business forward. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to this, it's we know, right? Like that our to-do list. There's never a day when you're going to get everything you should be doing on your to-do list done. Like it's just not happening. You will reach a point basically where it's good enough, right? And so some days we feel like we've gotten a lot accomplished and we may have checked off a lot of things on our to-do list, but that's not what these 3 priorities are about. When you plan out your 3 priorities for the day, it's supposed to be critical activities. And don't forget, like if you have a virtual assistant or something, these should be activities that you can't delegate for some reason, that they should be the things that you have to do. Because if you can delegate them, then you should, and you should find a more critical activity that you have to be the one to do. The other trend that I noticed, of course, was doing something physical. So a lot of people did, of course, exercise. And that comes in a variety of ways, right? So I'm not going to unpack that one necessarily, but whether you're outside, you're inside, it's yoga, it's weightlifting, it's body weight exercises, it's doing something physical that's good for you. And one of the reasons I think this is important is if you're an entrepreneur or you work from home, you work remotely, it's really easy to kind of put those things off to the side. And these days, what enables a lot of us to work from home, no matter what your position or your station is the computer. right now, as I'm recording this, I'm sitting, right? And sitting is just not the best thing for you. And some people have standing desks and things like that, and that's great. But still, the inactivity that many of our jobs, our businesses force us into, not exercising isn't good for your health. And you didn't start your business to be unhealthy or to make your life worse through illnesses and things like that. So, exercise is also one of the top things that the most successful people do in the morning as part of their morning routine. So, and I used to be a personal trainer and a fitness competitor. And so, I mean, I used to spend sometimes 2 or 3 hours in the gym, 6 days a week, depending on my training cycle. And that's not what I'm saying you need to do. 10, 20 minutes, whatever you can get in, break it up throughout your day. I think it's just important that you get the exercise in for your health. It's great for your brain. It's great for your mood. Go accomplish something physical. Another thing a lot of people mentioned, they would drink a glass of cold water very first thing. So I have to imagine that that's a shock to the system, and it's probably very effective. Other people mentioned that they drink coffee or tea. I'm actually a tea person myself. I really like that cup of coffee or a cup of tea in the morning. I can kind of relax before my kids get up. So that's part of my routine. And then another thing I got, this one came up a lot in the girl boss community. People will wash their face immediately. Like their alarm goes off, they get out of bed and wash their face. So I feel like this probably has a similar effect to drinking the cold glass of water. It kind of shocks your system a little bit, and you're up and hey, your face is washed. So that was kind of an interesting thing. And and this was a common tip of advice that came up, and this is one I've heard a lot, and I've decided to be more firm with myself about it. But do not check your phone before you're done with your morning routine. Don't check social media. Don't check any notifications. It would probably be better if you couldn't even see the notifications. So, like in my case, my do not disturb is on, but they also have apps that will lock your applications for you. And this works out. Like, I don't want to make it sound like all of us are addicted, but sometimes you get on your phone, right? Have you ever done this? You get on your phone, right? And you're looking through and you're like, what was I even doing? And you've already clicked on a social media just out of habit. So that's what I'm saying, is that sometimes you can download an app to kind of help you be like, oh, that's not what I actually meant to do. I wasn't meaning to check LinkedIn right now. But out of habit, your finger found an app, right? So sometimes those apps that kind of lock your phone down for a certain amount of time help remind you of your actual goals, especially if you're in the habit of just checking. So, big key to keeping your morning routine on track and keeping your mood high is not checking your notifications. Just the other day, last week, I checked my notifications when I woke up and I saw something that I wasn't happy about, and it kind of put me in a bad mood for a good portion of the morning. So, and that was before I got through my routine and I was in control of my morning and my mood. I wasn't prepared to receive that as soon as I woke up. So, do not check your phone, your notifications, whatever it is. It can wait until you're done with your morning routine. So, your morning routine might take 15 minutes. Your morning routine might take an hour. Whatever it is, just make sure you structure it so it sets you up for success. And what this might mean for you is mapping out a few activities and doing them for a few days, seeing what fits, seeing what makes you feel good, seeing what doesn't. And if it doesn't work, then you can always swap out the activities that you're not pleased with and try out your new routine for a few days. It's all, there's everybody has something different. There's always going to be a lot of variety and you're always going to have something to recommend. But an optimal morning routine puts you in the right mind frame, no matter what it is that you're doing. So, thank you for listening this morning. And if you've got morning activities that you just can't do without, and you didn't get a chance to respond to my question on LinkedIn or in the Girl Boss community, you can go ahead and leave me a message. I would love to hear what you've got to say. So, this has been an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast, and I'm your host, Ruthie, owner of Defy the Status Quo, and we will see you next time.